I am Artavasdes II, son of Tigranes the Great and Cleopatra of Pontus, born into a legacy of power, intrigue, and impossible decisions. My bloodline carries the strength of empires, descendant of Mithridates VI, conqueror of lands and defender of freedom. But no king's path is simple. Every step I took felt as though it wove a new layer into the web of political games that ruled the ancient world. I was taught to be wary of every move, to trust few, and to stand firm against the shifting allegiances that defined my reign. When I ascended the throne, I stood as King of Kings, an heir to the immense glory of Armenia, powerful in name and lineage. But as history would prove, glory alone cannot sustain a kingdom. My loyalty to Rome was necessary then. I watched my father forge alliances and maneuver with skill. I believed that continuing the bond with Rome would protect us from threats from the east, from the Parthians. But destiny always tests a king. The winds of war changed in 53 BCE, when the Romans, led by Crassus, were shattered by the Parthians at Carrhae. I knew then that my kingdom, my people, could not be tied to the sinking fate of Rome. I turned my gaze eastward, swearing loyalty to Parthia, hoping this would preserve Armenia. But the world would not allow me peace. Years passed and the Romans came again. This time, Mark Antony, determined to conquer Parthia. He summoned me, seeking my strength. I chose my path carefully, but when I refused to go to him in Nicopolis, when I trusted my instincts and the counsel of my ancestors, Antony marched on Armenia. He stormed my capital, Artaxata, captured me, bound me in chains of gold, and paraded me through foreign lands. Humiliated, perhaps, but not broken. Yet the hardest blow was not my imprisonment. It was watching the unraveling of my kingdom. My son, Artaxias II, was forced to flee to Parthia after a bitter defeat. And though my pride was strong, Mark Antony was unforgiving. He blamed me for his failures, for his lost campaign against the Parthians. So I was dragged alongside my family to Alexandria, where the final chapter of my life would unfold in the shadow of a woman whose ambitions rivaled my own, Cleopatra VII. She had once been the queen of my mother's homeland, and now she sought to bend me to her will, demanding that I bow to her as if I were a servant in her court. But I am Artavasdes, King of Armenia, and I would not lower myself in submission. My refusal to perform proskinesis enraged her. She could imprison my body, but not my spirit. For years I lingered in chains, my mind sharp, my love for Greece's art and philosophy growing as my body remained captive. But Antony and Cleopatra's reign was fragile as Rome itself. When they fell at Actium, I knew my fate was sealed. I had no delusions about mercy. Cleopatra, seeking one last desperate alliance with Armenia's enemy, sent my severed head to King Artavasdes, the first of Media Atropatene. But history will not remember me for how I died, or the chains that bound me. No, it will remember me for my defiance, my refusal to yield. I was not just a king, but a man who lived by his choices, good or ill. A man who knew that the crown is not the sum of one's worth. I leave this world a scholar, a playwright, and a king who stood tall, unbowed by the tides of empire. My tragedies and histories, written in Greek, will live on, even if my throne and crown do not.